So I just want to set the record straight here and tell you what our country is really all about, and tell you about the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is the greatest mission statement of all time. The Constitution is our how-to, and it's all self-explanatory because have you ever read the Constitution? I mean, really read it? Yeah. If you're a guy, most likely, no. Why? Because we don't read the instruction manual. This is the instruction manual. The Constitution is the how to make a good government. But we don't ever read it. In fact, we've discarded it a long time ago. And that has caused a real problem. But the Declaration of Independence, on the other hand, is actually our goal, our mission statement. You know, Frito-Lay, we make Cheetos. Great. They're going to be cheesier Cheetos. Maybe that's their motto. I don't know. But that's what they do. So you usually try on a mission statement to make it very, very aspirational, something that is really a hard reach. Well, the real hard reach back in the 1700s was all men are created equal. But I want you to listen to what the Declaration of Independence really is and what it really says. First of all, it says the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. Why does it have to be unanimous? Well, as you and I both know, if there is a weasel and you have any disagreements at all, you might agree on 9 out of 10 things, but it will be that 10th thing that one state or that one weasel will start to listen to the other side. We'll start to listen to, in this case, the king. And the king will say, they're not really for you. You know what's going to happen. They're going to get their 9 things. You're going to get screwed on that 10. And you and I are lockstep on the 10. So let me help you out a little bit. So they voted before they wrote it that it had to be unanimous. So there would be no daylight because they all had to stick together. Now, this Congress is no different than any other Congress. They were weasels. They were scaredy cats. They abandoned Philadelphia. I don't know how many times they ran screaming like, yes, I'm going to say it, little girls. They're pulling our hair. And they had wigs, so they had some hair to pull. So the Declaration said, when in the course of human events, I can't believe I have to dumb this down, but let me, not for you, but for others. As things happen in life, and it's really necessary for, if we're gonna break up here, it's really important that we talk about the things that have connected us together and now are forcing this breakup. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to one another and assume among the powers of earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. This is the part where no, it really is you. It's not me. It's you. But we have to break up because you don't really get it. You don't even know who I am. You don't listen to me anymore. And so we need to be separate but equal. You can go your own way and you got your own stuff, but I got my stuff too. All right. So what is it? Why are we breaking up? Because I think some things are really obvious and you don't. That's what it's saying. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Like what? Like you don't pick up your underwear in the morning and it's grotesque. Well, not maybe that one. But we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. The reason why this is so important is because rights must not come from men. If rights come from men, they can be taken away. I don't believe in God. That's fine. That's fine. Then up in space, there's a giant space octopus that gives giant rights away to everybody. And because they come from the space octopus, we as men can't change them. That's fine. Whatever. You just have to remove the rights from men who rule over other men. Because the king says, no, I have the divine right. I have the divine right, not you. No, we all have a divine right. And among those divine rights are our right to life. Nobody can just shoot me. Nobody can kill me. There's laws against it. I have a right to live. I have a right to liberty. You can't just jail me, throw away a key, and I don't have a right to a jury trial. I don't have a right to defend myself. Of course I have all kinds of rights. And the pursuit of happiness, that I get to be who I choose. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me how to live my life. If I'm gay, I'm gay. You don't get that in Iran. Pursuit of happiness. Now, here's the really important part. And to secure these rights, listen to that again. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Whoa, wait, what? So the government's job is just to secure these rights? Mm-hmm. And those governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. So in other words, government is instituted by us, and we give them the power to protect those rights. And they get those just powers from us. And that when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, meaning when anybody in the government starts tampering with your rights, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. However, there's a comma there, not a period. And to institute new government, not a period, but a comma, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. So in other words, you can't just overthrow this government. You have to overthrow it and replace it with something that is even better. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't heard a better idea than we hold these truths to be self-evident. If I had people out in the streets and saying, you know, this government is violating rights, and they've been violating rights of the black man, the brown man, the white man, all men, they're not protecting the rights that are outlined in the Bill of Rights, I'd be with you. I'd be with you. But so far, all you're saying is the whole thing is bad, and we got to get rid of it. But it's not. Give me your big idea that's bigger than this. Well, it was written by people who don't, you know, they were all racists. No, they weren't. No, they weren't. So we have a right to abolish. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. What does that mean? You can't just overthrow the government because you don't like it today. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind is more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. So in other words, we're going to take it. You're just going to keep taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it. But you have a right to overthrow. But history shows that you're just going to sit there and take it. You'll take those evils until those evils become so bad that you can't take it anymore. And that's when it says, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. So in other words, once a dictator starts to come in and they start taking away your rights, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. So now they get into the second part and the long train of abuses. He's abused, he's refused to assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He's forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance. He's refused for a long space of time to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative power is incapable of anything for the state, remaining the meantime exposed to the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. So in other words, he's obstructing. He's doing all these things just to cause trouble in the colonies. Boy, does this sound familiar at all? That there were a guy or a group of people in the government that were sowing dissent. But then you get down to the first draft. Now, the reason why we don't see this in school very often is because they're Marxists. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Is because this wasn't found until 1947. The original, the draft of the Declaration was found in a bunch of Thomas Jefferson's writings in a box in the Library of Congress, like 1947. But this takes everything that you have learned about Thomas Jefferson and turns it upside down. It also explains why we didn't eliminate slavery. It also explains that our founders felt passionately about slavery. They tried to end slavery. I want to read just this paragraph to you that changes absolutely everything. What's incredible is Thomas Jefferson gets this horrible rap that he's just an evil slave owner and he didn't do anything about slavery, and neither did George Washington. And we heard about it in the Washington Post and everything else that shows such ignorance of history. They should be embarrassed on how ignorant and, quite honestly, stupid they are. They are in self-imposed stupidity because all you have to do is look it up. All you have to do is read a little. But they're now too busy at the Washington Post starting to claim that maybe there's some books that should be gone. Really? Now, Washington Post, now we're into book burning? Huh. So here's what Thomas Jefferson wrote in his own hand. After the long list of usurpations, the very last one, all the others are a line or maybe two. This is a full paragraph. He says, the king has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life and liberty in the persons of a distinct people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation. This piratical warfare, the opprobrium of infidel powers, is the welfare of the Christian king of Great Britain. He capitalized the word Christian. He's mocking him here. He calls himself a Christian. And yet he does this. He says, he is determined to keep open a market where, capital letters, men should be bought and sold. He has prostituted his negative for suppressing every legislative attempt to prohibit or restrain this commerce. So in other words, he's saying, first of all, he takes to the open market and he sells men, capitalized. The only words in the Declaration of Independence that are capitalized are United States of America. In this draft, he capitalizes the word Christian in a mocking tone, and then he takes the word men and he capitalizes it and underlines it. What he's saying is those people who are slaves are men. All men are created equal. Then he says, and he's tried to stop us every time we've tried to legislate against this. And the assemblage of horrors might want no fact of distinguished dye. He is now exciting those very people. He's now going out to the slaves and getting those people and giving them arms to rise up among us. And listen, to purchase that liberty of which he has deprived of them, and murdering the people among whom he also obtruded them, thus paying off former crimes committed against the liberties of one people with the crimes he urges them to commit against the lives of another. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Why isn't that in the Declaration of Independence? Because of South Carolina and Georgia. 2 out of the 13 states. 11 states said no to slavery. Two out of 13 said yes. And because it had to be unanimous, they had to drop it. Because if they lost those 2, no one would be free of the king. That is the truth of the Declaration of Independence. And I don't care how Colin Kaepernick likes to tell you he knows the truth. He is an idiot. Answer that one, Colin Kaepernick.